The cyberspace is home to billions of people and is the right platform you need to grow your business. The Center for Innovation and Technology is offering you a golden opportunity to speak directly to your market at an affordable price. We also offer media training workshops, live streaming, documentary production, and events management. Get in touch with us today on the following numbers: +263 867 711 0290 or 0718 100 235. Don't forget to subscribe to our social media platforms. Like our Facebook page, Center for Innovation and Technology. Follow us on Twitter @SiteZW. And you can also check out our website www.site.org.zw. You can also visit our offices at 45 Moffat Avenue, Hillside, Bulawayo. Take advantage of this opportunity to expand your business.
Hello and welcome to another edition on Asakhe Sports. My name is Mbekezeli, Dino, Sibanda, and today we have got Bongani Mafu, former Highlanders coach, former Cameroon Orapa and Mochudi Center Chiefs in Botswana. He's been all over the world coaching, from AC Milan, having attachments even at Rouen. Today we have him here to tell us the story about his coaching career, his plans and his views concerning Zimbabwean football. Let's take this opportunity to welcome him to the show. Welcome, Mr. Mafu.
Welcome, thank you very much.
Today.
Yes, it's a very nice feeling to be around and to share my knowledge of football.
Yeah, maybe just to get the ball rolling, Mr. Mafu, you've been in Zimbabwe for the past 3 months.
Yes.
What has been happening so far?
I've come back mainly because I need CAF courses. That's the main reason I've come back. And at the minute, I'm not really employed by anyone in particular. I do help the Teachers College, where I trained as a teacher, which is Hillside Teachers College. And I've also been helping build up a football team in Filabusi. That's already there. It's a Division 1 team that I'm just giving advice from the outside.
That's nice. Maybe taking from what you've just said, just give us a brief overview of your stay when you were in United Kingdom. I understand you were part of Shedon United, or Shedon Town, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Shedon Town.
Shedon Town, coaching the under-16s and the under-18s. Just tell us more about your experience there.
That was an unbelievable run of football coincidences. I met a gentleman who had just brought his son to our big private school called Shebon. Shebon is in the southwest in Dorset. And Mr. Kirsten came from Germany to bring his son and daughter to be educated in England. And I was just coaching cricket mainly and rugby. And this kid cried for football. It was a school that really didn't do much football. So Johan cried for football, and we started a football club, which we ran on Thursday night. The father bought floodlights for the school, for my football club, and we had kids joining. And then we joined the local team, Shebon Town. I think they were under 14 then. When we went to Shebon Town, it was disorganized, and Mr. Kirsten decided to take over the under 14s, sponsor them, and buy everything for the team. Incidentally, he owns this company. It's called Golfino. And we got there, they played 10 games and won none. There was indiscipline. We weeded some players and brought in some good players. And, you know, the second half of that season, as under 14s, we didn't lose any game. And then we went the following year to under 16s, and we played a total of 2 full years unbeaten. We won the league at under 16, and until they were under 18, we were winning. And the boys left for university at 18, but it was one beautiful moment of my life. I had very good players, disciplined, very good equipment, and I enjoyed it a lot. I do miss it sometimes.
So it is true you have got an Arsene Wenger element of finishing the season unbeaten.
I enjoyed that bit. Yes. I enjoyed that bit very much, and the kids are still in contact up to today.
That's nice. Now, mentioning your stay in United Kingdom, it was quite a long spell.
Yes.
When was your first involvement with football, like first-class football, where you started to think to yourself, I want to pursue coaching?
I was still teaching at CBC. Also another beautiful story that involves the kids from, you know, Baron's Motor Spares. I've got a son there called Soul. And Wiesenbachers, they now, I know they own a shop in, on Hillside Road there. Ilan Wiesenbacher was one of the boys that I worked with. When I went to CBC, they didn't have a football team either. It was just a part-time thing. And I united with these kids from white backgrounds and some of my black boys that wanted to play, and we formed a team, and we were playing at CBC, and we started playing on Saturdays. You know, CBC used to send to South Africa rugby, cricket, squash, swimming for inter-CBC matches. I fought to get my team going there. We started off, my kids were just Form 2, I think. I remember our first match that we played at CBC was against Northley, that at Tapela Ngwenya. I remember that vividly. It was the first game of our season. We were beaten 16-0. We played that same team at the end of the season. Ask Tapela Ngwenya, we beat them 4-2. And that was because the boys, we worked so hard, you know. And the other thing that I remember very well about that CBC team is that the parents gave us almost everything we needed. I had an unbelievable medical box. I had about 50 balls with beeps, cones, and they would chip in when we went to trips. And I had those kids playing in a league in Nkulumane for Otrix Spares at the time. Yes. And we played in the Peter Ndlovu tournament. I remember one year in the Peter Ndlovu tournament, Gareth Brandt, one of the boys, was the goalkeeper of the tournament. And remember, in that tournament, Amon Chimbalanga was there. And Gareth Brandt became goalkeeper of the tournament. Calvin Oliphant was mentioned, and a few other boys. So that was the beginning, actually, at CBC.
Now, from what you've just said, with your experience in the United Kingdom and a few indisciplines that you experienced, I'm so curious to ask the question, how do you coach sportsmanship?
You build a team. You build a team around the boys. I think to get a sportsman out of anyone, they need to feel like they belong. There is nothing that beats the principle of belonging somewhere, because when you belong to a group, you tend to conform. You know, you can be what they call it and want to do whatever you want, but your peers will prune you to shape, because your peers are not me, the coach, demanding. It is your peers telling you how good you are at what you do, minus the nonsense. You know, so the best way to deal with football players is to give them the ball and let them play. I learned many years ago how to deal with players, watching my favorite coach, you know, a guy that coached me when I was very young. He plugged me from the locations, Matinda Ndlovu. He took me to a team called Asakhe when I was a very little boy, to go and play for them. They were playing Division 2. Matinda used to play for Islanders and used to play with us, and Bolev Ndlovu there. I remember vividly when Matinda started coaching, I was watching him because he was playing with me. He was better than I, but he was a good guy. And when he started coaching Highlanders, I used to see a trend. He coached his peers. You know, he coached Willard Kumalo and Mercedes Sibanda. And occasionally on a Wednesday, Thursday, he would have a tiff with one of them. I remember watching that very well. Sorry, Martin, but it's the truth. And he would not play them on Saturday. And I could see the team losing games. On a first spell at Highlanders, you know, you'd lose games with a few fights with players. And I learned from then that a good player, like my little brother Ronald Sibanda, is no use to you as a coach, banned outside there. All right. A good player is of use to you as a coach, playing for you. And then you sit on his backside. You play him, find a way of getting him to play. Play him, and then sit on him like crazy. Because they're paid. If he's going to mark about mistraining, it's fine. You play for us, we win, we charge you until you come to shape. We hit your pocket, and you come to shape. But the most important thing is to galvanize the rest, find the leader in the boys, and get that leader, bring him close to you, to talk to that boy, talk to him on his own, talk to him with the other boys, but bring a team spirit. It works.
Now, that leads me to asking you this briefly. 5 characteristics or 5 qualities of a good coach.
Well, there are many dimensions. A good coach, first of all, is personality. I think he's got to be an honest person, hard, firm, but fair, approachable. He's got to be somebody who's passionate about his game. On the cognitive side, he should be somebody that's well-versed in terms of tactics, technique training, psychomotor skills, injuries, nutrition, and many other aspects that come with football. He should also be able to do some psychology work with players. So there are many qualities around a coach that should all be rounded into one person that is approachable.
That's nice. Now, out of that question, where do you rate yourself out of 10 as a coach?
I think I'll give myself a 9.
That's brilliant.
I'll give myself a 9.
No, that's nice. Looking back at your spells in the dugout, be it in Botswana, over there in the UK, and here in Zimbabwe, what do you think you could have done better? What do you think you could have done?
I think I could have spent more time back home in the 18 years that I spent in Europe, because most of the things that happened to me was lack of understanding of the way things work, you know. I've discovered in my, how many years now, 3-4 years back home, that we are a different lot, you know. The way you deal with people is not as honest as you'd expect, you know. I don't want to say in Europe, but if I say that, it would sound like I'm saying. But if you work with somebody here, you really have to do your homework to know their motives, to know what they want, you know. In Botswana recently at Orapa, I had an assistant coach who walked into the camp to take over, you understand? He walked into the camp to take over to an extent that during one of my maybe second final matches, at halftime, we're playing a team that was high pressing, that was playing a long ball. And when I said to the boys, we are playing a long ball, which is not what we play. We pass the ball, let's go and pass. He put up his hand at halftime and said to the boys, we're a big team here. If the coach is afraid, forget about what he's playing. Play the long ball. We went on to lose that game 3-1. And I just realized that professionalism is a little bit far from most of the coaches in this country. So that's why you find that most of the good coaches here are one-man band. You take what he has to say or leave it. Whereas you find that, I'm sorry to say, but in Europe, it's a teamwork. If I tell you this, I mean it. I believe that you mean the same. We're on the same pot, but there are too many ulterior motives sometimes.
Now, you have had an opportunity. You have just mentioned that you've been in Botswana, Zimbabwe. What has made it difficult, especially for our country, to attract foreign coaches? We have seen many coaches going to South Africa and other surrounding countries within our region. They attract foreign coaches. But now, what's the case with Zimbabwe? We
don't need them. We've got very good coaches around. We've got beautiful guys that coach good football. Norman Mapeza for one, Tondera Ndiraya, Matinda Ndlovu, all these guys, Bektemba Ndlovu. We've got good coaches. But we've attracted those coaches that have come, and Grabowski was here. He did very well. We've had Mark Duvilat at AC's Academy. He's done very well. Recently, we've got a coach at Harrison that I beat in South Africa, in Botswana. He's coaching Caps United. So I think the idea is not to flood our nation with with foreign coaches. The idea is to get our locals in the level of the foreign coaches, because we want to supply the world with coaches. I don't think our aim is to have them come here. I think our aim is to groom Bongani Mafu and send them to Botswana, groom people and send them to Swaziland, because we are a country that makes it to AFCON.
That's brilliant there. Recently, you were in Hamburg, in Germany. Yes. You are in pursuit of UEFA a coaching course.
Yes.
Currently, you hold A. You hold UB. Now, do you think there is a challenge or a struggle with local coaches, either to do these UEFA A and UEFA B courses or the CAF ones? Is there a struggle, or is it more like a lack of hunger for them to acquire these licenses?
I think a Zimbabwean coach instinctively has got a very huge hunger to learn. We are born like that. But at the minute, there is a very sad loss of courses coming through, especially the CAF courses. I've been here 4 years now trying to get into a CAF course. I can't get it, but there's one running in Botswana, and it confuses me why we don't have them here, and I hope that will be sorted. Doing UEFA courses at the minute for an African coach is out of crying out. I'm doing the UEFA A not because I want to do it. I'm doing the UEFA A because if I come back home and I'm holding a UEFA B, which I took over 8 months, in a full program to do, and then be told that I need to come back and start CAF C, it's a little bit painful because I'm not growing young. When I was young, my country had the highest level of qualification was the advanced level. I pursued that, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, advanced. I got it. I didn't come out of the country without it. I got it. I became secretary of Bulawayo Soccer Coaches Association. I churned out coaching courses that produces one of our national team coaches. Coaches was part of our system, our training. But over the years, that has disappeared. And for me, that's a pain. I had Barry Daga as my chairman. I had Wright Ngobe, I had Keotse Mang Debele, and myself, and we ran the Bulawayo Soccer Coaches Association. I was the secretary. I still have the records of coaches. We produced over 250 coaches. So Bulawayo is crying for education. We don't want to go and do UEFA A. We want to do CAF B. My dream is for the association to come up with a leveler and say, if you did the old advanced, we want a bridging course. Rather not say, after years of coaching in the Premier League, I've got to go and start in CAF C and then coach in primary schools for 2 years, and then go to CAF B, go to secondary schools and coach for another 2 years. By that time, I'll be 60 and dead. And all this experience that I've had is lost, not only to me, but to the teams that want to employ me. I've been told we've got 78 CAF A coaches, but a team that employs will employ you for your, not for your paper, they'll headhunt you. There are some people that can stand in there and represent the ideology of the club that is employing. It's not just churning out. If it was like that, all the agency people will have jobs.
Now, you briefly highlighted on your dreams in regard to the issue of workshops and coaches being able to be knowledgeable concerning their courses. Now, if given an opportunity to implement a change in Zimbabwean football, what's that one thing that you're going to bring into our football and make it a better game?
If you go to Spain, to Barcelona today, and you walked on the street and you met a guy and he told you they taught at a school and they coached football, they'll have UEFA A. At a primary school, they'll have, because they have not mystified the qualifications. They are open to anyone who is interested, so that down there, our children are being coached right. There is no use having CAF A for the Premier League. CAF A should also be available to the teacher in Lupane there, down in St. Paul's, teaching boys, so that they are teaching them the right things. So if I was to be in charge, or one day wake up with a magic wand and help the people in charge, I would say, let's decentralize this thing. Let's not demystify them. You cannot tell me that there are only 4 clever Zimbabweans who can teach others. No, it's not possible. Zimbabwe is supposed to be an educated country. Let's give it to anyone that is available. Give them the proper thing. Don't sell it. If they fail, they failed. But open it wide and far. And then our country, you will get a player coming out from Inyati there, from Filabusi there, with the good technical skills, with the good tactical awareness, with the good football behavior patterns. Because it's a job, it's a teaching job. You teach the boys how to deal with fame, teach the boys how to handle media. You know, recently we had boys, I watched boys in South Africa, the boy is being interviewed is a foreigner, and most probably it's the first time he's in front of a camera, and he's never had a coach who can even talk about those things, because the coach is thinking about winning. And they will be willing to play old age players in young age groups to win. And when you talk to the coach, he will say, Ndamrowa every day. You understand? Yes. And that kills the whole purpose of the tissue of football.
Now, there seems to be a lot of weight in regard to workshops and upgrading certificates. And the manager himself, or the coach, should I say, has got an impact in the life of a young player as they grow. But then what do we say about these coaches who get involved in match fixing? What's your take on that one?
I think they should be castrated. Well, not castrated. I think they should be banned, honestly speaking. I think they should be banned. But the most important thing is they should be brought to school. You'll find that half the guys that are doing that are desperate, one, to be successful, and two, to make money out of football. It is not an overnight success generator, money generator football. You know, I used to watch Pasua. I used to see him sometimes go with a blanket on a bus, and he was suffering with the squad, but he was still winning because he was galvanized with his team. He's a very well-educated coach, and he gave us results. Then you find a guy that's just cutting corners, you know. He's going to get this boy and say, I'm fine, I'll make you play. If they say they want 10, you want 3,000, don't worry, I'll say you want 5,000. I'll get the 2,000. That is abhorrent. We don't want that in our football. I think I have got no time for coaches like that.
Thanks a lot for that one there. It's very important to maintain the purity of the sport. Now, Mr. Mafu, as a coach, you've been involved in a lot of dressing room discussions with players. How does a coach build a very good relationship with the players? Because we've seen quite a lot of coaches losing it within the dressing room. Hence, the results don't come up so well within the playing field. How do you build a good relationship with the players?
I think it's your personality, for one. Two, it is your openness, and it is your trust of your boys. Once you trust them, you give them respect, you become part of them, but a disciplinarian in the sense that you are part of them, but you know the limits. It always builds a good working team. The nice thing that I know for a fact is that from Benjani, that the player that I coached, to Tulani Ngube, all the boys that I coached, I still speak to. Because even if at the time maybe with some players it didn't work, but the relationship that I built with the players has always worked. That's why I mentioned Matinda. He was most probably one of my first coaches in my life. But up to today, when I've got a problem, I call him, Mdal, you understand? Yes. So that relationship counts. And then in the dressing room, you need to be calm and collected. Remember, it's no longer about you. It's about them. Yeah. The problem is when the coach still wants to be seen as the main driver of the thing. Well, it's not yours now. It's the players' issue.
The dressing room will address the best player or team that you've coached.
It's very difficult to say, but you know, I think the Zimbabwe Saints that I coached to beating Dynamos 3-1 20 years ago was a team that, with the help of the management then, I had galvanized into a playing team. They were playing football that we almost got to with Highlanders. You know, with Highlanders, our playing had come to almost what I needed, but my problem or my disadvantage then is that the expectations of the club went way beyond what I had agreed with the executive when I arrived. We were there to build a team for the following year, and we won a 1-2, and when we had problems, when the kids could not win, we were massacred like a team that was well sponsored. You asked me about the best team. I think it was that Zimbabwe Saints club and the Highlanders that I coached. Orapa United had the best facilities, but it has got the worst management I've ever met.
That's a bittersweet there. Mr. Mafu, you mentioned something to do with cricket.
Yes.
And rugby.
Yes.
Can we say you're only passionate or you're also able to coach those sports?
You see, in Zimbabwe, I've kept quiet my cricket knowledge, but in England, I did the highest cricket qualification there, coaching. But I've met my friendly reporters in this country that if you say, I'm a cricket coach, when your team loses, they'll say, so coachable or cricket. You understand?
Yeah,
it is how small sometimes we get. Yeah. So, I am a very passionate cricket coach. I think cricket is the cleverest sport you can play. I can coach anything from batting to bowling, fielding, and I'm very knowledgeable with cricket, and because I'm a trained physical education teacher, so I love cricket.
Now, just to sum it up, what is Mr. Bongani Mafu doing at the moment?
At the moment, I'm waiting patiently to get my CAF badges because I want to get into the dugout. I am also waiting patiently for my country to realize that I could help the national team as a translator, for one, as a person that watches other games, as a person that coaches. I am a versatile coach that has been preparing for this life back home for a long time. And, but I need the CAF badges and to open up the coaching scenario in my town, Pulowe. I want to work with the other coaches so that we open up again, we have meetings, we discuss formations, we shape one another up and build one another up. It built me. Fabish taught us that. It used to be me, Penel Makop, Willard Kumalo, Keutse Pilemang Ndebele, Morgan Dube in the Falls. We used to have meetings and just put a board up on the board and on the wall and say, take 3-5-2. How would you play against a 4-4-2? And we'll have input. It made us grow as coaches. I don't see that now. When I go into coaches groups, and I'm saying, does this guy actually know that particular game is not the future in football? Because if you work like that, it will end. But if you work to build a big repertoire of knowledge, you are there for life.
Thanks a lot for that one. Now, maybe there's a young man out there or a young lady out there who are so much willing to be into the coaching field. Any word of advice for them?
Read. One other thing that I'm glad to remember, Liz of Platinum FC now, made me happy about is the amount of planning that he does. It's the planning that we learn. Coaches don't read, they don't plan, they don't expand their knowledge. So if you're a young person that wants to do coaching, it's high time you read, it's high time you watch others. You cannot be too big to go and watch another coach work. Go and watch other coaches work. I can tell you for one, I've been to every senior coach's house in this country, just asking for other. I've been to Perry Daga's house, Cosmas Zulu, Sande Marimo, his brother Mishek. I've been to all of them's house to find out what is it that makes them who they are. And then you create yourself out of other people's things. If you sit at your house and say, I want to be a coach, and you go and amass certificates, you are hollow. You've got a lot of certificates, and you are learned, not educated in football. It is when you go out, watch Division 1, go to primary schools, watch primary schools, see how they coach, see what's wrong, take what's good. It's no use coming to watch my session, and then you concentrate, break, and so what? Yeah. Understand? But what best did you come out of that? And that I credit my mother for. She taught me to go to a neighbor's house. Don't come back and tell me what no, tell me what they do best.
Brilliant. Thank you. Mr. Mafu, for joining us. We have just had a session with Bongani Mafu sharing with us the story of his career from back then in the United Kingdom, from where he is right now. Let's wish him all the best, and whenever you feel like you want to reach him out, he is always here at Hillside Teachers College helping out the team. That's where you'll find him. Mr. Mafu, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
That's it from us. Ciao, ciao.
The cyberspace is home to billions of people and is the right platform you need to grow your business. The Center for Innovation and Technology is offering you a golden opportunity to speak directly to your market at an affordable price. We also offer media training workshops, live streaming, documentary production, and events management. Get in touch with us today on the following numbers: +263 867 711 0290 or 0718 100 235. Don't forget to subscribe to our social media platforms. Like our Facebook page, Center for Innovation and Technology. Follow us on Twitter @SiteZW. And you can also check out our website www.site.org.zw. You can also visit our offices at 45 Moffat Avenue, Hillside, Bulawayo. Take advantage of this opportunity to expand your business.